What's up, dude? So this is going to be a little different than my regular four pillar reviews, and I just kind of want to have like a between match discussion about how we're all feeling about Battlefield 6 so far. I usually write this fucking in-depth script for my four pillar reviews, but this one I just got some bullet points in front of me, and I kind of just want to freestyle off the top of the dome, so it just feels a little more genuine. So yeah, let's jump into it. I do want to start this off by saying I don't remember having this fun gaming in such a long time. I mean, from my first match of the beta to my last match of the beta, I mean, I was having a blast. But I don't know. What's weird is that the first weekend, I mean, I had such a good time. And then when the second weekend came out, I was suicidal every single match. So I don't know what really changed in between weekend one and weekend two because all they did was add a new map and some new game modes. So I do want to kind of get into that in this video of how the first weekend was, I mean, some of the best times that I've had in a long time, especially when you're squatted up with all your buddies and everybody's in Discord and you're screaming at each other. And I mean, that's what Battlefield's all about. But the second week, I mean, it was complete silence in Discord. Everybody's fucking pissed. So yeah, I don't know what really happened there, but I do want to kind of get into that. So the big question is, how do we feel about Battlefield 6 so far? I think they're off to a phenomenal start. Sure, there's a few annoying things here and there. There's some things that I don't agree with. But if you just take the bones of this game, I mean, I think this is what we all wanted. The sound design is some of the best that I've ever heard. I mean, the sound devs fucking killed it here. Every battle gives you PTSD. Jets flying overhead, snipers cracking, tanks rolling up, buildings crumbling. It all gives you that I'm in war feeling. I mean, just from the sound design alone, they make me want to tell my future children, like, yeah, I remember the Battle of Point C. In my opinion, and I know I'm really sticking my neck out here because you can't have opinions online, but in my opinion, Battlefield 1 had some of the best sound design, best sound immersion, and Battlefield 6 is up there, if not even better. And this brings me to the maps. The detail on these maps are fucking insane. You could tell that they put a lot of love into these maps with meticulous detail. Every rock, every hill, every building, it all looks so good. It's this gritty, dirty, military, all out war feeling that we've all been wanting for so long, and it fucking makes me rock hard. Like, take for example the Manhattan map. Every single asset was strategically placed, all the cars, the buildings, it just all looks so good. But to be honest, I don't care if I ever play that map again. So this is what kind of brings me over to the maps. Look, I respect how much love and detail went into these maps, but they are a meat grinder in the worst way. Everything is run and gun. All these maps are claustrophobic. To be honest, the only map that I felt like I can actually breathe on is Liberation Peak, and even for a big map, that one is too small. Skybox is too small. Vehicles can't get used to their full potential, and it's this compact size that gives it like a COD run and gun feeling. And I'm fucking trying to stay away from COD and anything that feels like that. I know the devs already kind of responded to this criticism, and they were saying that these are some of the smallest maps in the game. They just wanted to give us a feeling of how hectic it's going to be on these small maps and the close quarters combat. So I understand that, which gets me a little bit excited to see what maps are going to be there on launch, especially if they're spacing them out correctly. Like if we play big map, and then throw a small map in, big map, throw a small map in. I mean, that'll make it less repetitive, less exhausting. And that's kind of what Battlefield is supposed to be about in the first place, is these huge open battles with these huge wars. Like take, for example, Empire State. I don't care if that map even launches with the game, to be honest. Jesus Christ, is that the worst meat grinder I have ever been in. I don't ever want to play that map again. So speaking about running and gunning, I do want to touch on the weapons here. As of right now, I do enjoy all the weapons that are in the beta. I've used pretty much every one of them. I've got a couple of them to max level. I guess the only criticism that I have here is that all the guns are kind of interchangeable. Like there's not a lot of guns that stand out as in has its own traits or personality. Like, hey, this gun hits hard, but it pulls to the left. This gun has a high rate of fire, but it climbs hard when firing. And I feel like all these guns need those little details. Like they need pros and cons. It honestly feels like every gun just has nothing but pros. And especially like I don't know. I like games that have recoil. I like games that give me the actual feeling of like, hey, I need to control this weapon. And this game, there's none. There's not even an animation of recoil. Even if you make the gun a laser, at least give me the feeling that I'm firing a real gun and it's not an airsoft gun. Like check out this kill right here. I don't think there's any way that I should be able to make this shot. I mean,
I have an SMG, high rate of fire, close quarters combat, and I'm lasering somebody from a 2-story window between this little gap in the rock. And this is when it comes back to the personality of each gun. It's okay to not make every gun the best gun in the game. Like, it's okay to have these guns have these stipulations on why they're not the best. So I believe the devs already said that they're going to revisit the recoil on a lot of these guns, which I'm stoked about, because to me it's just not fun being able to just laser people with every single gun. Once you add the recoil in and it has that little feeling of realism, that's when it starts being fun to me. Next thing I want to touch on is performance. For the beta, I've had absolutely no problems. Never had a crash, never waited more than like 45 seconds to find the next match. Game is super smooth when booting up. And this is rare for betas and launches. Usually there's these huge problems that require troubleshooting and Reddit deep dives for days before you can even play. Not this one. I've been consistently above 100 frames on my fucking 3060 i7 potato setup, and I've had zero issues squatting up with friends. So big kudos to the devs. Nothing kills the games faster than not being able to play it, and I'm glad this is not one of those games. So the movement in Battlefield 6 right now, I think we're in a really good spot. Everything feels grounded and heavy, but in the best way possible. Like you're always moving with a purpose. I can't tell you how fucking sick and tired I am of seeing somebody running full speed, slide canceling, bunny hopping, diving 20 feet to the left, and then fucking getting up in a full sprint to slide cancel again. I just can't handle it anymore, man. It fucking takes me out of the game. So I'm stoked that Battlefield 6 is coming back to a more grounded and heavy feeling with their movement. So there's a couple things that I think they need to take a look here at the movement before this game launches. It looks like some of the rubble will kind of just launch you up 5 feet in the air, like for no reason. You'll just be running and then you'll just hit some rubble and you'll just get launched. And trust me, I'm a Halo 2 fan. I love super bounces as much as the next guy. But when you're aiming down sight and you're fucking in a gunfight with somebody else and you just get launched 5 feet in the air for no reason, it fucking sucks. You die every single time. Another thing that I think they need to look at is the mantle. I think the mantle is super inconsistent. Sometimes you'll mantle, sometimes you won't. Sometimes you'll just be jumping on a wall. If they take care of those things, I think the movement is in a pretty good spot. So the next thing I want to touch on here is the TTK. I feel like the TTK, it's in a pretty good spot right now. I wouldn't mind if they extend it just a little bit, like a fraction of a second. Sometimes it does feel like I go down instantly. Like I don't even have a chance to fucking look at who's shooting me before I go down. I'm not sure if that's a notification issue or if the TTK just needs to be, tweaked slightly. Um, what I do think they did really good here is that they make these kills addicting. So I remember in Battlefield 1, every time you got a kill, there was like this ring sound. And to me, it always sounded like an M1 Garand ejecting its bullet casing, especially when you got six of them in a row. It was like ring, 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 and those got addicting, and it makes you want to chase after those kills. I think Battlefield 6 did a really good job in their sound and how satisfying it is to get a kill. It sounds like a wet slap sound, and it hits just as hard as the Battlefield 1. So it does make you want to chase down these kills. But yeah, for as for the TTK, I wouldn't mind if they do lengthen it just a little bit, because sometimes it does feel like you get beamed and your game is over instantly. Touching on the vehicles, I think they look great. They feel great. They're fun to operate. I think I only have two complaints here. The helicopter, it felt kind of sluggish and unresponsive when you're trying to like whip around these mountains or dive below the valley and Liberation Peak, so you can lose a bunch of lock-ons. But I don't know, maybe that's just something in my settings that I had to change. But yeah, the helicopter felt a little unresponsive at times. The next thing I would say was the survivability of the helicopter and the jet. Sometimes I feel like I would get 10 feet in the air and I'm already at half health. I think we need to bump up the health of the helicopters and the jets, and we're golden on the vehicles. The last thing I want to touch on here is the open weapon decision. So, what's the fucking point? Why do we even have an open weapon option? Wasn't this like the main complaint in Battlefield 2042, and they still making an option in Battlefield 6? Just take open weapons completely out of the game. Squad cohesion is the entire point of Battlefield. Without it, just get rid of the squads. You might as well just get rid of the squads, have two big teams, call it Call of Duty. I felt like that was the whole point of Battlefield for me. It was making sacrifices to give your team what it needs. working with your squad to take down these tanks, reviving to hold a point, taking out a helicopter that has 79 kills and one fucking death. It was changing your loadout to help your squad, and that's Battlefield. And now we have snipers with RPGs and stingers. I don't know. It just feels fucking dumb. And those little decisions, like I said in the start of the video, I love the game how it is right now, but it's those little decisions that make this game lose the Battlefield DNA. And I know it's easy to say, well, just don't pick the open weapon option then. Well, that's when you get into this weird territory where you start splitting your own community and the game starts to feel unofficial. Like, in the back of your mind, if you're playing closed, there's 50% of the community that's also playing open weapon. So it just doesn't feel like a legit game anymore. It doesn't feel like one game, this is Battlefield. There's just a bunch of different modes that's catered to a bunch of different people, and I don't know. Once you start splitting the community and the game feels unofficial, that's when you start losing me.
Like, take for example, I've never been a huge fan, but go play a game of Fortnite right now, and go get a victory royale and tell me if that feels good or not. There's 1,700 other variations of this victory royale or this battle royale. It's just when you start giving so many options, the game it starts feeling like nothing really matters. Like there's no consequences anymore. So all in all, like I said, I had a great time playing this beta. It does feel like Battlefield again. It feels like Battlefield's back. I think the bones on this game are extraordinary. Battlefield feels like Battlefield again. But it's these small decisions where they're losing me and they're losing that Battlefield DNA. As always, if you made it this far and you enjoyed the video, go ahead, give it a like. Maybe even drop a sub if you're feeling crazy. Who knows? And if you didn't, don't worry, I'll get you next time. Appreciate it.